Welcome to Lesson 7, the Cannon Game app. Now the purpose of this game is to have the user fire a cannon at a target that consists of 7 pieces, and the goal is to destroy all 7 pieces before time runs out and as quickly as possible. Now in between the cannon and the target there's also a blocker to help make the game a bit more difficult. Now, with games like this, there's typically going to be a separate thread of execution that's responsible for updating various elements inside the game, such as the cannonball flying across the screen, the blocker moving up and down the screen, and the target moving up and down the screen as well. Now, normally when you display things onto the screen, you are required to do that in the graphical user interface thread of execution. However, anything that you draw onto the screen using the GUI thread has to be done in the GUI thread. And when you start dealing with the complex calculations that are typical of robust games, those need to be done normally in a separate thread of execution. So Android provides a class specifically for this case. It's called a surface view, and it's used to allow you to draw to the screen from separate threads of execution other than the graphical user interface thread. So we'll show you how to do that in this app. Now, as part of doing that, we're also going to introduce the concept of building a game loop, which is going to repeatedly iterate and update the different game elements on the screen. And the game loop in this app, as you will see, can run at different speeds based on the capabilities of the actual device on which you run the app. So if the device is capable of refreshing at, say, 60 frames per second, we'll take advantage of that and refresh the screen as quickly as we can to make the game operate nice and smoothly. But on a slower device that maybe can't refresh the screen more than 20 times per second, the game will still appear to run at the exact same speed because of the adjustable game loops that we're using in this app. Now, as part of drawing onto the screen, we're going to introduce canvases and paint objects. Paint objects allow you to configure the different graphical elements. For example, you can specify things like a line's thickness and color. We're also going to use the canvas object to draw things like lines and circles onto the screen. We'll introduce touch event handling as part of this app. So for example, the user fires the cannonball by double tapping on the screen, and the user can also aim the cannon by dragging a finger on the screen as well. We'll use a gesture detector to look for that double tap event. A gesture detector makes it a little bit easier to test for common types of events. And as part of our game dynamics, we'll also do some very simple collision detection. This game is the first one in which we're going to use sounds as well, so we're going to take advantage of some built-in classes called Sound Pool and Audio Manager to load up and configure the sounds and play the sounds that we use in this app. And finally, we're also going to talk about some additional activity lifecycle methods as part of this app as well. So for example, when the app goes into the background, we don't want the game's game loop thread to keep running, so we'll use some additional lifecycle methods to test for that case.